can argue that they do, which is the problem. Essentially, these new laws give farmers more flexibility to sell their goods. And so many farmers who had previously counted on set prices from the government, they fear that these new laws will open them up to exploitation by corporate interests that drive down prices. So that's what farmers are concerned about. And over the last few months, neither farmers groups nor the government have really been willing to make many concessions. And these farmers have rejected a number of measures, including court-ordered mediation. So these two sides, the government and the farmers, really appear to be on a collision course.
And the Indian government taking a number of steps, including beefing up security, blocking or cutting down internet in and around New Delhi. The Indian government says it's to protect the public safety after things got violent. But what is the best way to address this crisis? You're saying the two sides have not been able to reach an agreement. So where do we go from here? And do each side have any kind of proposals on the table to move this thing along?
Yeah, and I think eventually the government will have to give in on some level, just because the farmers, their numbers are strong, they're very determined, and they're a very important constituency, a very important political constituency in India as well. But what happened some days ago is that a small contingent of peaceful farmer protesters turned violent and ended up ramming tractors through police barricades in New Delhi. And really, I think given that happened, the government in India is taking a particularly hard line, even though the great majority of these protesters are peaceful. But ultimately, they're going to have to negotiate some type of compromise. I don't really see this ending anytime soon, and the protester groups have indicated that they're going to continue to stage these protests. And of course, given that the government keeps cracking down in this draconian fashion, that's just going to embolden the farmers to do even more.
And this story, this dispute, I should say, got a lot more traction after some celebrities in the West, like Rihanna, the Swedish climate activist, Greta Thunberg, they chimed in support of the farmers, and the Indian government is not happy, to say the least, calling it irresponsible. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's remarkable how sensitive the Indian government is to outside criticism. But look, I mean, these are issues that really resonate on a global level. You're looking at small farmers fighting against the state. These are issues of social justice. There's also the risk of, the issue of the risk of corporatization of farming. And many people around the world, including celebrities, these types of things resonate, and particularly in a world, particularly in the United States, where social justice issues are particularly strong now. So in that sense, it's not a surprise that this issue is getting all the attention that it does. And of course, it's going to annoy the Indian government, but the more the Indian government criticizes this outside commentary, the more commentary there will be.
And what does this mean for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his BJP party? This is a pretty big challenge.
Yeah, I think it's certainly the biggest challenge to Modi's government so far, but he'll be fine. He's still a very popular figure. There's no viable political opposition in India that could take advantage here and try to put him on the defensive. Many Indians support the government's strong stand, and Modi himself is just a very popular figure. And the public relations campaigns of the ruling party, the troll armies that it has on social media to try to push back against critical narratives, that all factors into things. So yes, this is a challenge for Modi, but he will survive this. His government is not in any danger.
And Michael, in the coming weeks and months, if this issue is not resolved, what will you be looking for?
Well, I think you have to look at the threat of instability in the sense that these protesters continue to be out there and they refuse to stop doing what they're doing. The government in India has already taken some pretty draconian measures that don't just include, putting barriers down and cutting off communications, but also arresting journalists that have been covering this issue. This is very troubling, and if this continues and it goes on, then I think you really have to worry about about social instability in a country that is already experiencing considerable social tensions because of communal tensions and things like that. So pretty volatile moment for India at this point. India